Welcome to the Value Telling Podcast, where we talk to some amazing people about all aspects of their persuasive process and decision winning. We cover off what value telling content really is and why it plays an essential role in winning decisions, like securing that dream job, getting that buy-in from that hard to please client, winning a place on that PSL after a tough tender process, and so much more. At the heart of the podcast is celebrating all the great things people do to understand and deliver a high persuasive performance and what it really means. I'm Matt Trainer, and I'm delighted to spend a few moments with some amazing people. I'm not a guru, but I'm an experienced business leader, and I've worked in, led and advised hundreds of companies and thousands of people over the last 20 years. I've picked up a thing or two along the way. I've seen the good, the bad and the ugly, and I'm ready to share. If you value some thought-provoking culture, insightful science, inspirational snippets on all things decision winning, you're in the right place.
And what about measurements or examples away from internal process, so you can see efficiency and demonstrate to clients how slick you guys are? What about those good news stories when you deliver a compelling service? How do you go about capturing those and then potentially repackaging them back to other clients in the form of perhaps a case study or a testimonial?
Yeah, it comes back to our tech stack. So we've got a piece of technology that we use, which is called Recruiter Insider. Obviously very niche to the recruitment industry, but what that allows us to do is capture feedback from our customers at 3 stages of the recruitment process. And, you know, as you can expect, it's all done automated through surveys. As soon as we achieve a particular stage of that recruitment process, a survey goes out. The customer or the client or the candidate fill it in, send it back to us, or it automatically comes back to us, and we get 2 pieces of feedback that way. One will be the rating, 5 stars, how did we get on, and that gives us a sort of median result by the end of each month. But also there's testimonials in there as well, so there's qualitative data as well as quantitative data, which gives us different types of ways of looking at what people's feedback on us is. So, you know, our vision here is you know, all about building trusting relationships with our clients. We want to be the most trusted recruitment business, and you don't get a huge amount of trust in recruitment businesses. So, you know, we're trying to be slightly different, but we have to put our money where our mouth is as well. And we have to be able to measure that standard and say, are we doing well or we're not doing well? So we're really pleased to have that piece of kit. It's allowed us to improve our L&D programs. It's allowed us to focus on how we onboard our new starters, and it's allowed us to set the bar as high as we can for customer service. And like I say, if we didn't measure it, it wouldn't be valid. So it's really important to us that we can measure it, even if our scores aren't great, or even if they're not where we would like them to be. It just allows for, you know, room for us to improve.
Yeah, brilliant. And you just said about the opportunity to improve. Earlier in this podcast, you mentioned that, you know, failure and mistakes and errors are all learning opportunities. Could you cast your mind back to perhaps one of your most recent learning experiences where things didn't quite go to plan and you've had to lick your wounds, rebuild, learn and go again?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been really interesting. I've been with the business here for 7 months now, and there's obviously been quite a few. You sort of have to find yourself again in many ways and roll your sleeves up and get back to it. And you have to prove to people that you've got the ability to bring clients in and be creative and lead a business as well. So, you know, interestingly at the moment, what we're growing our business quite rapidly, and we're in a fantastic position where we have a lot of external applications coming into our company. We're clearly quite a sort of progressive business that a lot of people want to come and work for. So that part of growing the business is coming quite naturally to us at the moment, but actually scaling the business is quite a challenge. So we're looking at building a sort of internal team leader program at the moment. We're trying to promote as many people as we can through the business. It's easier to recruit people externally, but we want to give people internally more of an opportunity to develop their skills and enhance their careers and you know, move from being transactional recruiters to really strategic future managers. So we're trying to scale the business in a more authentic way. One of the challenges we face is, you know, giving people the opportunity, giving a fair amount of opportunity to everybody as well, but also making sure that the decisions we do make on who's going to be moving into a team leader role and who isn't affects the other members of each team as well. So yeah, I think one of the sort of failings, if you like, of recent would be maybe not covering all bases before making some of those decisions. It's very easy to have a bit of interest in somebody internally who says, I'd love to be a team leader, and you go, brilliant, all eggs in that basket, move forward. And actually that sometimes causes ripples with the rest of the team or other members of the business who might not have been given that opportunity. So I think, it comes back to, less is more sometimes. Be patient, don't run before you can walk. And I've always been a little impatient in my ability to sort of scale and grow. I'm always so keen to progress. So I think for me, that was a learning curve, just to say, let's tick all of the I's, dot all of the T's, and or vice versa, if you like, and then you can move forward at the right pace. When you try and do it too quickly, you certainly miss some things that might seem obvious when you look back in retrospect. So it's always a challenge, but as I say, with a growth mindset, you dust yourself down and you move on, and you go again.
Brilliant. Great insight. Thanks for that, Joe. And you mentioned about pace and urgency and just that, lack of patience, but full of ambition and drive. And that really resonates with me. How important do you think is timing and pace and momentum in delivering a high persuasive performance?
I think it's really important. I think, again, one of the things that I've always been quite good at when coaching people, for example, is being prepared, have a plan. I follow a methodology called the SCORE principle: symptom, cause, outcome, resource, effect. It allows me to be really prepared when I'm going into a coaching session with somebody, and it allows me to know exactly what the challenge might be, but exactly what outcome I want out of that session. And then I can coach and hopefully allow someone to develop their skills. When it comes down to, let's say, growing a business, a lot more patience needs to be put into that, because you can't change overnight and you can't grow rapidly overnight. And also, I've had to learn almost the hard way, coming from a corporate business and entering a small business or a smaller business, that progression looks very different. So what I'm used to from 11 years of my career to 7 months of my career, it's taken me a long time to realize this is good and this is progression, not what I've been maybe taught or pushed for in previous years. So when we talk about being persuasive in that instance, I would still say what's really important is to be prepared for that, not to do it on a whim, not to do it emotionally, and to try and use some really interesting tips to make sure that you can put your emotion to one side or put that impatience to one side and make sure that you've got everything really well prepared before you push ahead with plans. One of the key things that is always missed out in businesses that are quite fast paced is communication. So that's the bit that we need to get right as leaders or as thought leaders moving forward, is when you're being innovative and when you're using persuasive behavior to grow a business or to change something, communication is so important. And if you don't get that right, then there will be challenges.
And you mentioned about the power of being ready and prepared and having a plan. Can you cast your mind back to perhaps your earlier years when you were much less experienced? Can you remember a scenario when you went into a persuasive arrangement or tried to sell or convince a client to buy from you when you were completely unprepared? Can you remember an example like that?
Oh, there would be loads. I was always a very good salesperson, but I wasn't particularly well brushed up on legislation. So, I'd often be on the phone to clients trying to pull vacancies or pitch a sales solution, and often it would be going quite well until they said to me, "What's your policy on X legislation?" or "How do you deal with these regulations?" And that's where I'd always come unstuck. So I've again learnt the hard way. Those things are, in the moment, really quite hard to deal with, and you probably feel quite embarrassed when that's you as well. And I've been there many times, but as long as you've got the ability to learn from that, overcome that challenge and educate yourself for the next time, then it's absolutely fine. I would never encourage anybody to try and blag something. I think if ever I was in a situation where I was asked a question and didn't know the answer to, there would be no really poor corporate answer to that. It would be very much, I don't know the answer to that question, and you keep that level of authenticity, because I think people buy from people. If you get caught out blagging or lying, no one's going to really want to work with you. Whereas if you can say, "Look, I'm really sorry, I'm a sector expert, but I'm not a legislation expert. I'm going to have to come back to you on that one," whilst you might want the world to swallow you up and spit you back out at some stage later, you can somehow get away with it professionally by just keeping you calm and saying, "I just don't know." There's nothing wrong with not knowing, as long as you can deal with it in the right way. So there have always been lots of those situations. There will be many more through the rest of my career, I'm sure, as well. I'm not afraid of them anymore. because I know the way of dealing with them. But, you know, to those people listening that don't know how to deal with them, my advice would always be stay professional, stay authentic, be you, and deal with it in the way that best suits you as a person. And for me, that was always just remain very authentic and just be honest.
There are lots of cool things happening in your company every day. As a leader, it's hard to keep track of the great things that happen, and remote work doesn't make it easier. Capturing and using this information that we call value-telling content is important, as it is needed to make a compelling bid, a sales pitch, deliver a performance review, and so much more. Blu-J can help supercharge your persuasive power by creating content that converts. Our platform works like a logbook that records the important stuff. Our powerful search makes it quick and easy to find what you need. Win more decisions with Blu-J. Book a call on our website and get a guided tour of what we do.